was upset with her for something, and she goes, "Callie!" And my daughter sticks her head out from behind the door, and she goes, "Yes, Mom?" "Mommy?" She was using her techniques that she learned from this lion tamer to stay calm and mediate the situation. But it didn't work, and "You come here to me right now, Callie." And so Callie starts walking, and she knows she's going into the pride. So she's walking, and she goes, "Easy lion, big lion, easy girl." And now we're laughing so hysterically hard. I swear that's a true story. I couldn't have made that up. So Samson was a rough dude. Samson was a violent dude. And Samson was arrogant. Turn to Judges 14, verse 4. It says, "Now his father and mother did not know this was from the Lord." Oh, I'm sorry. We need to start a little bit above that. 14:1 through 4. "Samson went down to Timnah and saw a young Philistine woman there. He went back and told his father and his mother, 'I have seen a young Philistine woman in Timnah.'" Now, remember that the Philistines are in charge of the Jews right now. But yet he finds this young Philistine woman that he would like to marry. So in that culture, that was kind of arrogant of him to go that way. "Now get her for me as a wife." But his father and mother said to him, "Can't you find a young woman among your relatives or among your people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines for a wife?" But Samson told his father, "Get her for me because I want her. She is right for me." So Samson is breaking the rules that are set apart in his society. I was watching the Tiger Woods apology. I know everybody's so Tiger Woods out. I'm sorry for even bringing this up. But it was so close to what Samson was going through at the time. And and Tiger Woods said in his public apology that there was a time that I really felt like the rules of our society did not apply to me. Because for whatever reason, I was rich and famous, and I really didn't feel like I had to live by the same set of rules that everybody else did. And so Samson was the same way. Every other young Jewish boy was looking for a nice young Jewish girl because that's the way they did it back then. And Samson said, no, I want that Philistine right there because I'm Samson. He was arrogant. And then in 15, verse 16, after he has slayed 1,000 men with a jawbone of a donkey, he stands up and tells these guys that I have made donkeys out of you. He's arrogant. And he's doing God's work. He's doing what he was called to do, but he's arrogant about it. He allows sin to creep into his life. And he doesn't know what's coming yet, but that sin is what's going to disconnect him from the power of God and change his life dramatically. We have to be careful, church, that when we know that we're called to do something, that we put up safeguards and that we're very, very careful not to let sin creep into our lives. Because the way Satan works, he's sneaky. It's like a sniper. If he's got something aimed up a mile away, you don't have to bend the barrel of his gun to make him miss his target. You just have to bump his sights a little bit. Just get him off by a fraction of an inch, and he's a mile away down there. And Satan's the same way. He's not going to just come in and say, with a big flashing sign, "Sin, you want some?" He's going to let things creep in like pride and arrogance and doubt and unbelief. And you're going to start questioning the things that you've built your foundation upon, that you've built your house upon. And he can creep in and he can make you doubt yourself and doubt everything that you believe. Just a little bit. Just get you off a little bit. And that's what Satan does. And that's what he did to Samson. We know that Samson was definitely a womanizer. Because in 16 verse 1, it says he was strolling through town and met a prostitute and went to sleep with her. This is after he's already been married to that nice young Philistine wife that he found. Whose father, it's kind of funny. Samson gets all mad at this wedding. He's got this really bad temper. And he's trying to brag about what happened in the vineyard where he killed this lion. So he tells all these people at his wedding, he said, look, I've got a riddle for you. Out of the eater, something to eat. And out of the strong, something sweet. If you guys can solve that riddle, I'll give each one of you, there's 30 of them, garments of linen. But if you don't get it by the end of this wedding ceremony, then you all give me 30 garments of linen. You would never guess that. You would never think about a beehive in the stomach of a lion unless you were there and unless you knew. But Samson's wife, to be at the time, said, if you love me, you'll tell me what the answer to that riddle, because everybody at her wedding is ruining her wedding party. Everyone's trying to figure out out of the eater something to eat, out of the strong something sweet. Nobody can understand this riddle, and there's no way to unless you were there. And Samson knows that. And so his wife, this is the first time this happens and there's not a whole lot of consequences. The next time it's going to be pretty big. But listen to this. His wife says, if you love me, then tell me. And he tells her. And so at the end of this wedding feast, they come to him. And they say, what is sweeter than honey and what is stronger than a lion? And they give him the answer to the riddle. And Samson, being the phenomenal guy that he is, just this man of character, says, had you not plowed with my heifer, had you not plowed with my young cow, you would have never known the answer to this question. And so he goes out and he kills 30 dudes and takes their clothes and brings them back and says, you won the bet. But he's so mad at his wife that he leaves town, and his father-in-law gives his wife to a friend of his because they weren't real keen about him being a Jew anyway. And so then we see Samson, and he's starting to dabble in some things with a prostitute in 16 verse 1, and then he meets Delilah. And that's where his downfall really begins to take place. Because I'm assuming Delilah was very beautiful. And he just gets hooked. And so he's sitting there with her, and the Philistine army at that time had Samson was their biggest threat. I mean, he killed 1,000 of their guys with one jawbone of a donkey. I mean, how do you fight that guy? And so they talk to Delilah, and they say, look, if you can somehow figure out the secret to his strength, we'll each pay you 1,100 pieces of silver. She said, game on. Let's look at that. It's so Delilah said to Samson, please tell me, where does your great strength come from? How could someone tie you up and make you helpless? Hypothetically. If one wanted to do that, how would they go about it? And Samson tells her, if they tie me up with 7 fresh bowstrings that have never been dried, I will become weak like any other man. I kind of take issue with that. Because, dude, you've been empowered by God, and that's the reason you're so strong. Weak like any other man, you're just superhumanly strong. We're not just weak. But he paints this picture like we're a bunch of little weaklings, and if you can kill 1,000 of us, maybe we are in your eyes. But it's evidence that he doesn't view his gift as really a gift. He views that as that being him. I've made the same mistake in my life. I've been able to talk my way out of trouble my entire life. I don't care what happened, I could get out of it. Just by using my mouth. I would tell my brothers I'm the hostage negotiator, because I could work my way out of any situation that I got myself into. And I was like Samson, I began to believe that was something about me. I didn't look at it like it was God giving me a gift.